Welcome to, what am I calling this? Welcome to, I guess, just a chit chat, get ready with me, coffee chat, but get ready with me. Okay. I just want to chat with you guys and catch up. I feel like if you were someone that did watch some of my Vlogmas, I feel disconnected because I was literally connected with a lot of you guys every single day, and like you would see my life and like what was going on. And so now that a couple of weeks have passed, it hasn't been that long, but a couple of weeks have passed and things are going on. So I figured it'd be a good time to just kind of catch up and share what's going on in my life, I guess, or just talk about whatever I want. I'm sure I'll get on my high horse about something that doesn't matter, but that's usually how it goes. We just kind of ride with the wind on these bad boys. So I'm probably not going to like name specific products I'm using. I'll link every single product you see me apply down below if you're curious, but this is not going to be like a makeup focused video. As we speak, in a couple of days, we'll be leaving for Disney. This Disney trip is kind of last minute. Again, my husband's a Disney travel agent, so we go to Disney a lot. The fun and problematic thing about Disney is that they are constantly opening new stuff. So when my husband's booking things for clients, he's like, I kind of need to know firsthand when they're asking me questions about very specific things. He's like, some things are so new, you can't just look it up. So we have been annual pass holders for a few years, and we still are. Actually, this trip will be us renewing our annual pass for the year. Anyway, so it's just important to him to know firsthand what's going on because it is his job, which I love tagging along. Gigi tags along. It's a blast. Now, and the other reality is the flight isn't crazy. It's a little under 2 hours to fly from where I live. And the flights, we found a crazy deal on flights. We found a crazy deal on the rooms we're staying in. So it was kind of one of those things that we were like, let's just go. So, literally filmed for 2 seconds and then had to break to eat. So what did I do? I put on that primer. I already like moisturize and SPF. A lot of times when we travel, I will film like get ready with me's, but to be honest, I filmed a couple of get ready with me's already in Disney, so I don't feel like I need to do it every single time we go. But if you're curious, I did do one on an Alaskan cruise, which was incredible. It was last year, and literally you could see, like I did it on the balcony. I don't know how I pulled this off actually, but I did it on our like little balcony, and so you could see like glaciers and water behind me. It was pretty cool. That was pretty epic. I was pretty proud of that one. So definitely check it out. I'll link it above, even if you only watch a few minutes of it. I just think it was very unique and it was so cool. And it's cool for me to like look back on that video and be like, oh my gosh, like I was actually there. That's so cool. I forgot I rebought-ish the CoverGirl Outlast Stay Fabulous foundation. I don't know if it's the same as what it used to be or not, or maybe it's, I don't know. But I used it the other day and I was like, that's not bad. So I wanted to use it again. So anyways, today we're having our friends, Ben and Emily, over, and we're trying to plan a trip to go to Asia. We traveled with them to Alaska when we went. They're just fun travel companions, so we're kind of toying with the idea, and we've kind of looked at a little bit of pricing, but we're trying to decide like, okay, where do we want to go in Asia? We talked about China, we've talked about Japan, we've talked about like Vietnam and Thailand. I mean, we've toyed around with all of the ideas. But we really haven't landed on one specific, but I think we're leaning towards China because none of it. Has Ben been there? I don't know. I know Ben's dad used to go there a lot for work. Long story short, we're going to hopefully figure that out a little bit more tonight, but that would be, of course, later in the year. Foundation does have decent coverage. It doesn't sit perfectly, like it's not sitting pretty on my chin there. Whose Get Ready With Me's do you like watching? I like watching Raw Beauty Christie's. I like hearing her talk. You know what I mean? Do you have people like that you just like listening to them talk, so it doesn't really matter what they're doing? I pretty much always watch hers. So I just posted on Insta if you guys have any particular things you want me to cover, really. So a lot of the products I'm using today actually were featured in my 2019 like Jammy Awards, my favorite makeup of the year. Not all of it, but a lot of this, because I literally just grabbed the little container that had my favorites in it, and I've just been using it all week because it's literally all the products I'm using anyway. So it's been kind of nice to just have them all gathered together, all my little favorite buddies hanging out in there. I want to try the technique Emily Noel learned from a subscriber to just kind of let the concealer sit for a little bit before you blend it, like sit for a minute. I was listening to this song today. Oh, it's one of those songs that's too deep and I can only listen to it like a couple times a year, but it's the song Stop This Train by John Mayer. And man, those lyrics, it's just about life. Like, and it's just, especially when he talks about, there's a lyric where he's like, had a talk with my old man, said, help me understand. And he said, turn 68, you'll renegotiate, don't stop this train. don't for a minute trade the place you're in. Am I even saying these lyrics? But it's just about life and how it just moves so fast. Like I'm turning 31 very soon, like this month. And I'm just like, how? I remember I just turned 30 and I just turned 29 and 28. And it's just like the years, they don't slow down and it can be so overwhelming. And that's why I can't listen to that song very much because it gets me in a weird headspace. What do you guys listen to music on? I've had arguments with my friends about this because I used to listen to Spotify when I was in college. And then I, like in my adult life, switched over to Apple Music when it became like legit and pretty good and, you know. And so I'm paying for Apple Music. I used to pay for Spotify so I didn't have ads and I could do what I want, you know, have the music offline. But my friends made fun of me because they said that Apple Music was for old people. I was like, so what? And I don't think that it is. I'm like, I feel like it's just as normal to have either. And I said, in any way, you guys, I don't know. It clearly bothered me. This happened like 2 years ago and I cannot get over it. Jessica, you've got to calm down. Who cares? So overwhelmingly, I've gotten like a bunch of questions about postpartum weight loss and body image and all that stuff. You know, I finally feel like I'm at a point, and this is such a personal thing because for me, I know the way I looked before baby. I don't like the way I say that. Before having a baby. I'm one of those people that gets bothered if someone, instead of saying like, yeah, my mom, blah, 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 when they just say, yeah, mom, blah, blah. I don't know why that bothers me, but that has always bothered me. I'm like, it's not my mom. It's not our mom. It's your mom. Before having a baby, I know what my body looked like. And it's funny because even when I was at my thinnest, I touched on this in a previous video, even at my thinnest, I wasn't happy with my body. Like guys, it just doesn't matter. So just get to a point, like for me, I realized, and I think I was DMing someone this that asked the other day, get yourself to a point where you feel good. It doesn't mean that you're gonna look exactly like what you think you're supposed to look like, but are you doing healthy stuff for yourself? It doesn't really, I mean, are you trying to get some kind of cardio, whether that just means out walking if you can walk, running, doing stretching, whatever you might be able to do, or maybe it just means cutting out some of the unhealthy foods you're eating all the time and only eating them some of the time. I just feel like balance is 100% the answer, and I've always kind of known that, and that's why I've never done like big crash diets or anything like that, because I see those fail and people I know, I see those fail and people online. Like it's just one of those things that they're not sustainable for everyone. I'm sure someone out there is mad because they're like, oh, I've been doing this crash diet for years. And the thing is, they usually do work, but they're not gonna work for life. And a lot of times you might be switching to eating a way that you are so unhappy, and it affects your mood all day long. Does it not? Like even when I was doing Weight Watchers where I was eating what I wanted, but I was kind of counting how many points I was using and making sure I wasn't going overboard, it affects your mood all day long. And I do think that helped me to lose a lot of the weight. And that's something I would do again. Like if we have another baby in the future, I would do that again to help kind of gain control back. But it's not something I could do for life because, again, you're constantly thinking about food. You know what I mean? And that's not healthy either. And so I just feel like striking that balance between eating things you still like. I still like peanut M&Ms. I still like Oreos. And I still eat them from time to time, but I'm not eating them every single day. And I'm trying to squeeze in, a green smoothie for breakfast a couple times a week when I can, but not beating myself up when I can't, And so then that's the food portion. But then even the exercise portion, for me, running and walking has made more of a difference than any of it did. And I think the reason is that, my body was used to running before having a baby. So whatever your body was used to maybe before that, that's something worth trying, but you're not going to be able to hop right back into it. I mean, it took me a full year to be able to get past like 2 or 3 miles of walking, which I don't know. Now I'm at like where I'm running about 4 miles every time, and my body feels so good. And I'm not doing it now just to look a certain way, but I'm doing it because I know how good my body feels for like 2 days after a run. And how just my whole system works better. You know what I mean? Like you don't have the issues that I used to have. Like I would have stomach, my stomach would hurt a lot, or I'd feel bloated. When I'm running regularly a couple times a week, all of that fades away. Same goes for drinking more water. That has helped me a lot. But I always say, don't feel pressured to do an exercise you don't want to do. Like for me, yoga is not my steez. It's just not. I've taken classes. I had to do yoga all the time when I was going to school for musical theater, which is kind of funny. And I liked it well enough, and I get why people like it, but it's one of those things that it's not enough for me. And I know it probably would be if I did it regularly every single day or whatever, but I like the cardio aspect of running, and that's what I know I like. So I'm like, why fight it? Why am I forcing myself to do these exercises I really don't enjoy when I can just run? Or like I've talked about the like song workouts on YouTube, like that Mad Fit does. I love those. And so find what you like and just do that every time. No one's telling you you have to do Pilates or bar or cycling or whatever. What's that called? Not biking, cycling. What is that called? Spin. No one's telling you have to just because a lot of people are doing it, you know? One thing I just tried yesterday was this Laura Mercier. It's the translucent, but stay with me. It's a glowy version. I tried it on my under eyes yesterday, and it was like ultra glowy on my under eye. I was giggling. I was like, okay, maybe a little much for there. But I really liked it in my T-zone because it's still a loose powder, so it really is kind of setting your makeup in place and holding it in place. But it's adding this glow. Ooh, that might have still been too much. Can y'all see it? I'm so pale that a lot of times on sunny days it just washes me out. But I thought it looked really, really nice. And again, it held my makeup. And I have another trick I want to share with you guys here in a sec that I did where I was putting a cream bronzer over a loose powder. Okay, so I don't like the way it looks right there. So I think I need to focus it like higher up and then on my nose, chin, and then out there. I don't mind. Okay, anyway. But yeah, I'm enjoying this. Stay tuned. I'll keep playing with it and maybe do a more, like if I do speed reviews in another month or two after I've tried this, I'll let you know. Because it's still pricey and I've only used it now twice. And oh, back to working out real fast. Another thing to keep in mind is that if you are someone that struggles with consistency, I'm someone that struggles with like doing it all the time. And like for me, if I fall off the wagon and I don't work out for like a week or longer, I'm like, well, then who cares? Forget it. I'm not going to work out today. I haven't done it in a week anyway. You know, that is the mindset I get into. And it's so silly because, of course, it's like, well, you can start back up anytime, but it's easier said than done when you're in the mindset that I get in. So the 2-day rule is what I'm following. And it's basically where you're never allowed to go more than 2 days without working out or doing something healthy for yourself. So I'm treating it as working out. I got this idea from another YouTuber, Matt, that I watch. I'll link below. He's really inspiring. His YouTube channel is very inspiring, very life heavy stuff. Like for example, I went on a run yesterday, humble brag. And so that means I don't necessarily have to work out today unless I just want to. But tomorrow I have to, because if I don't work out tomorrow, that would have been 2 days in a row that I didn't work out in some way. So that could just look like right before bed. This is exactly the example I gave, but it's a good one. That could be that right before bed, I'm like, crap, I didn't work out today. So I'll do 50 push-ups and 50 sit-ups and 50 squats and then go to bed. I know some people can't go to bed right after that, but I'm weird and I can. This is an interesting question. Is there any makeup company you regret being removed from their PR list? No. I thought there would be, and there are still a few that I'm not removing myself from yet. Like NARS is one that I genuinely enjoy their products, but it's starting to get a little overwhelming. So I'm like, maybe, because it's a lot of limited edition, and while it's fun and exciting, that excitement's starting to wear off because now I'm like, well, now I'm getting too much from them, and I can't even enjoy the last thing they sent because the next thing has come. So that's what I'm thinking about, but I'm like, I worry that that would be one I regret because there's a lot of NARS products I do like. This is coming from someone that, because of you guys and because you watch my channel, if I'm dying to try a NARS product, I can buy that for myself. And so if I were in a very different financial situation, and who knows, maybe in 5 years I will be, and then I would look back and be like, oh, I wish but I don't know. I don't know. Excess is excess. No matter what's causing it, it can still be overwhelming. So I'm trying to attack the different angles of what is causing it and really watching my spending this year when it comes to especially makeup, clothing too. Both of them, because I saw myself in a pattern last year where because I had been losing weight, I was wanting new clothes that fit my next body shape and my neck, you know what I mean? And so, and the ones from a couple years ago when I was my previous size either still didn't fit yet or they were just older and I was like, I just want fresh stuff now that I've lost some of the weight. So I was just in a cycle where I needed to break it. So I'm going to be spending a lot less this year. What am I doing? I'm just like staring at stuff here. So I think that will be good. I really do think that will be really good for me to keep track of all of that. I talked about in my 2020 goals video, I'm really not planning on like setting a specific limit. I just want to naturally just watch myself and catch myself when I'm like, ooh, I might buy all of these palettes. It's like, no, Jessica, you hardly use palettes as it is. You really just use like little quads and that's about that. So you don't need any more. Are you guys kind of watching your spending this year? Are you trying to be better about where your money's going? Would you rather, like if you could, save up and buy one nice thing, or would you rather buy a couple of things from the drugstore? Like, where's your mindset at? This is like a really deep question. Do you ever feel like your life is becoming inauthentic because you share so much of it online? I'm gonna say no, and that's because we do draw a line. Vlogmas is hard, and the reason it's hard is because it does start to, especially towards the end, we cut it short a week. We typically go to the 31st. We cut it at Christmas because I was like, after a few weeks of that, it's too much. I don't know how people vlog every day. I think it has to become inauthentic at a certain point because, you know, there were even times during Vlogmas where Tyler would say something funny just to me in regular life as we're just regular talking because we're not always filming. And I would say, oh my gosh, you should say that again for Vlogmas. And while that didn't happen all the time, there were times that it did. And it's because I'm like, well, that is a cute thing to share. And that is genuinely something he said, but it's just bizarre. It's just bizarre when you're filming stuff all the time. So sharing stuff on social media, I don't think that I overshare on there. I really don't. And so that I'm genuinely just filming stuff I'm thinking about, talking about, whatever. But I definitely could see where if we did vlog every single day, like Vlogmas times 12, you know, no way. I don't know how people do it. I really, really don't. So I'm glad that that's only once a year. And we do vlog on Tyler's channel, but it's not every day. And if we ever did get back into our home vlogs, it would be more like once a week or once every other week. Even that's hard to keep up with because he does run a business and that's what he's spending his daytime doing. So it's hard for him to find the time to edit that, you know? It's just one of those things that I'm glad that that is not my sole purpose, because even if I'm doing lifestyle stuff, I'll do like a day in the life video once a month, but that's just one day of my life. You know what I mean? And I'm living it a little differently because I'm intentionally sharing like, oh, hey, this is what I'm eating today. And oh, hey, this is the makeup I'm using today. But beyond that, it's not that I'm making things up or, you know, I was inspired by Raw Beauty Christy too, because I was watching her get ready with me, her recent-ish one, and she did just a really pretty simple black wing. And I was like, yeah, let's do that, dog. This question, thoughts on Sephora's latest rewards, using points for discounts? Yeah, that's bogus, man. And again, I think, was it Jen Loves Reviews? I've watched a couple people touch on this, and it's like Sephora and Ulta, all of these rewards programs, they're not doing it for us. They're a business. They know that those kinds of things work. There's so much science, there's so much research behind why these kinds of point systems, discounts, all of that works. So Sephora is just trying to find a way to do it in a way that forces you to shop. Think about it. If you're only getting 1% off and you're not getting something in your hands, you're forced to shop again. I don't know. I don't know if it's saving them money, if they're losing. Maybe in the end, it actually is a bigger deal to them. Like maybe they are giving away more money, but with the hope. I don't know. But yeah, I'm just like, that sucks. It really does. You know, and there are sites like Beautylish. I don't even know what kind of, like if they have a reward system. I think they do. But Beautylish sells some of the same brands Sephora does. And you know what? The experience I've had shopping from Beautylish is so incredible. They send you your makeup like literally with a bow, like wrapped. It's so gorgeous. It's such a great experience. Now, obviously the brands are selling are high-end, just like Sephora. And it's not exactly the same brands, but if there is one, like if you're just like kind of done with Sephora for a while, it might be worth checking out. That's where I bought like some of the Charlotte Tilbury products I own. I bought them on Beautylish because that was a time when Charlotte Tilbury wasn't sold at Sephora. But at the end of the day, as I've heard many other people say, it's not a gift to us that they're giving. It's just it's a marketing tactic. So take it with a grain of salt, but it does stink because it does affect, you know, if you're someone that buys from them a lot but I think they're trying to, I wonder if in their heads they were like, well, this will fix it, because they heard our complaints, I am sure, about their reward system compared to Ulta's and that it sucked and Ulta's was better. So I feel like this is their answer to it, but it's maybe not the right answer. I don't know. And if you did, I shared how much I spent last year from Sephora and Ulta in that other 2020 video, so I'm not going to touch on that now. But I definitely feel like I'm not as concerned about it because I know I'm going to be spending less anyway. I think it would be incredible, seriously, because I've been rouge for a few years now, which means what? You spend like $1,000 a year, and I think even that changed. I would like to not be rouge next year. That would mean I spent under that. I don't need to spend that amount. I just want to be buying things I'm genuinely going to use myself. Another question, do you miss having to leave the house to go to work? I really did the first like 8 months. I really genuinely did. And it's funny because you'd think, oh, sweet, you get to stay at home. But there are caveats and drawbacks to it. I say caveats way too much. I need like a new word. But there are, genuinely. And I know some of you guys are like, well, I wish I could stay home and not have to get up early and drive. I know. And I wish the same thing when I was teaching. Trust me. But it's just one of those grass is always greener things. Because I'm sure like if I ever did go back into like teaching or something, I would look back and be like, oh, I should have appreciated when I work from home. I hate getting up early and driving to work. You know, it's just, it would just back and forth, back and forth. But I finally feel like I've hit a groove with working from home that I'm genuinely happy and I'm genuinely enjoying it and I like the direction I'm headed with it and I feel like my channel is growing up with me and we're growing up together and that feels good because I thought to myself when I was kind of at my lowest with my possible postpartum depression and figuring out what did I want to do? Like what was my goal? One question that would stress me out and make me like genuinely sad was when I would watch videos about like, you know, whatever your dream is, go after it. And I'm like, I don't even know what my dream is. Like, I don't know where I'm headed, but I knew I didn't want to only talk about makeup for the rest of my life because again, I'm not a makeup artist, clearly. These wings can't be even. So I'm like, it's a passion of mine when it comes to like hobbies. And obviously that's what I started this channel around. But I know in my heart of hearts, it's not the only thing I'm passionate about. And it's not the only thing I care about. And especially as I've been playing with makeup for so many years, I just kind of felt like I'd hit a wall of, okay, I've seen it all. You know what I mean? And how much new is there? Do I really want to only be doing product reviews for, I say the rest of my life, who knows how long YouTube or whatever will be around, but you know what I'm saying. And so it finally hit me one day that this is the answer by infusing other content in my channel. I make my own rule book for what my job is right now. And why would I trap myself into something that is not exactly the only thing I want to be doing? So like I've said, I'm not going to drop makeup. I still like it and I'd like to still do it like at least once a week. So that was simply a roundabout way to answer the question that yes, I am actually quite happy now staying at home and working, but I've had to create a structure that makes it feel more like a job and not like I'm sleeping until noon and only working a few hours. No, I'm typically working from like 9 to 4 or 5 and I am genuinely working. So that is a good feeling. Okay, so remember how I put that powder on earlier? I'm gonna use my Charlotte Tilbury contour wand. And even though I've already put a loose powder, I did this yesterday and I was like, and then it made the cream stay on way better. So I'm literally just gonna take it and put a little bit on. By the way, I should have mentioned the contour wand in my Jammy Awards for last year, for this year, you know what I mean? I can't believe I forgot. I mentioned my milk baked stick, which I love, but the contour wand is absolutely a favorite of mine too. And I cannot believe I didn't think to mention it. I use it equally. That and the milk one I use like back and forth all the time. But it just ended up staying in place all day long. I even went on a run and it stayed, you guys. I actually have already repurchased this. This is still my old one. It's like there's barely anything in it, but I've just been like squeezing out the last little bit that's left. So question, random, but being confused about college and future career. I'm only 18, but I feel so trapped. That's a loaded question too. Listen, if I could turn back time, I want to say I would have taken a year off before going to college. And that's something that Tyler and I have talked about a lot. Tyler did not go to college. He took some college classes. I went to college for far too long because I went to school for musical theater, which no matter how much you love musical theater, that is not a job that you have to have a degree to be successful in. You can take separate dance classes. You can take separate acting classes. You can take singing lessons. And so it was one of those things that it was so much money. And I just now this year finished paying off my loans literally a few months ago, and I've never cried harder. I don't know how my friends that went to school for that are currently waitressing or whatever they're doing, I don't know how they're paying them off. What a sick, sick problem we have. And so I switched to community college to get my teaching degree. And even that is expensive, but I'm like, I want to instill in Genevieve, my daughter, that college is not the only way. Period. It's not. And frankly, a bachelor degree does not even guarantee a good job. Now you're having to get a master's degree and give more of your money. And while obviously education is incredibly important to me, I mean, that's literally if I could go to school forever, I would. I love learning. I love classroom settings. I was a teacher, for goodness sake. I love it. And I actually loved college. But it's just one of those things that it's not the only answer. There are so many other jobs you can do without it. And I'm not talking about everyone should drop everything they're doing and just become a blogger or a YouTuber, because that's not right for everyone. And the other reality is, for me, I felt that I wanted to have a job while I was starting my YouTube channel. I didn't go into YouTube assuming it would ever become a job of mine. I did not think it would. I just thought, this is fun. I like it. It's a hobby. Why not just give it a try? And I'm so glad I did. But I worked when did I quit? I mean, like when I had her. So a year and a half ago, I was working a full-time job from 2013 to 2018. So 5 years of doing YouTube and having a job, because you can't just assume that it's going to pan out. That's all I'm going to say. It doesn't mean you shouldn't follow your dreams if that's your dream, because anything can happen. But you also have to be smart about it, where if you're an adult, especially if you're an adult and you're not, still in college or in that phase where you're figuring things out, if you're needing to live on your own, you need to have a job. You need to have a job. If you've got student loans to pay off, you need to have a job. You can't just assume that YouTube is going to make you famous or anything. And frankly, who knows, YouTube might have an expiration date. I don't know. And also keeping in mind, if you are dying to go straight to college, which there's nothing wrong with that either, just maybe don't pick your degree right away. Take classes that would apply to anything. Take those liberal arts classes that you're going to have to take no matter what, and figure it out. And the other thing is, it's a kind of an old mentality to think, I'm trying to find a blush. Do I not have one? It's kind of an old mentality to be like, yeah, I have this job and it's going to be my job for my entire life. That's not necessarily true anymore. And I think for me, like, it's kind of fun to have different jobs and different interests and different hobbies. Now, obviously with a degree, it changes things a bit, because like if you've got an engineering degree, well, you're probably going to be an engineer for your life, but it doesn't mean you have to be an engineer at the same place your entire life. That's all. I mean, I guess, and Tyler and I, that's something we've talked about a lot, because he used to work in hotels and then he became a travel agent, but he's also a YouTuber and he also likes to cook. And I'm like, if he wanted to go to school to be a chef or something, that's something he could do later in life. It's not that because he's a travel agent now, that means he absolutely has to be a travel agent forever. So just stuff to keep in mind. Don't feel as trapped, because you're not. You're really not. So one of the questions I saw was, how do you get cream products to stay better? I'm quickly learning that putting it over a loose powder actually does help it, which is funny. It sounds backwards. You'd think putting a loose powder over it would be better, but I'm just realizing that, putting these creams over a loose powder actually helps a lot. Had any loss of hope? How do you deal with it? Yes. Hopeless was the word that I would use to describe how I felt when makes me emotional, because it was a hard time in my life. When I was going through what I'm almost positive is postpartum depression. Looking back, I should have gotten help. I got through it, but I think that was more of the hormones were so imbalanced that eventually, as those hormones got out of my system, here's the thing. If you are feeling hopeless every day, talk to someone. Go get help. So many people see therapists. It's not like it used to be where it's like, oh, you see a therapist. Almost everyone sees a therapist. If you are genuinely feeling hopeless every day, go get help. Go get help. I'll put some references down below for some links and phone numbers where you can find help. There's nothing wrong with getting help. And I know I probably sound like a broken record to some of you, because you've probably heard that, but seriously, you're not supposed to feel hopeless every day. That is not normal. That is not normal. And people can help. They have medicine that can help depending on your case. And just know it just takes that first step and the wheels start turning. If I have another kid and I suffer from that again, I'm getting help, because I need to follow my own advice, because that was absolutely awful. This person, do you feel pressure to keep opinions on social, political, and economic topics to yourself? Yup. I have come so close so many times to revealing how I feel about certain things. But you know what? At the end of the day, my channel is not based around, and I've gone back and forth with this, it's not based around politics or stuff like that. I want my channel to be a place you guys can go to just chill out and not think about those kinds of things. So while I do talk about these things to people I know in my own life and, and do appropriate things that I feel strongly about, like petitioning and voting and all of that, I do have a line I do draw, and it's on purpose. It's intentional. And it's not that I don't feel strongly enough about how I feel, because trust me, I do. But I'm also, one thing I can admit to you is that I wouldn't say I'm crazy far left and I'm definitely not crazy far right. I really am somewhere in the middle, and I would consider myself independent in that way. And, I was raised a certain way, and while I agree with some of it, I definitely don't agree with all of it. So it's funny, I've heard some people try to guess at what I might be, politically, but to be honest, I don't know that you could, because I really am in the middle. And I don't think that's crazy or outrageous to say. I think a lot of us are more towards the middle than we even realize. And one thing I've always said is that to be completely blindly following one political party is incredibly dangerous. You have to have your own logic and heart. The odds of one political party somehow perfectly believing in every single thing that you yourself genuinely believe is near to impossible. And so what happens is everyone gets into that mentality of tribalism, where you're like, well, this is my tribe. You might have not felt one way or the other about something to do with the economy. Suddenly you feel really strongly one way because your tribe, your side of the aisle, feels a certain way, and that's what they believe. So because you believe these other things, you automatically believe that. Does that make sense? And that's what I mean by, I think we really, most of us are a little more independent. I don't mean I'm voting independent. I just mean that I'm kind of thinking on my own, really looking at, let's say, candidates and thinking, who would I want to tell my daughter I voted for? Who do I think is going to really take our country in the direction that it probably needs to go when it comes to so many factors. So I guess I've really revealed nothing except for the fact that I just think on my own, and I think logically, and I think with my heart as well, both sides. And that's how I make my decision. That's all. And like I said, I don't think that's going to offend anyone. I think a lot of us would agree with that. That was my very PC way of explaining how I feel. I should be a politician. Oh, quick fun side note, super fun. This Maybelline Superstay ink, I tried the shade Dancer the other day and I posted on Instagram about it. It is the perfect blue tone red. And you guys, I'm bringing this to Disney with me most likely because it does not move. Amazing. You put it on in the first 20 minutes, it's like weirdly sticky. And that's what I'd shared about it like a year ago when I first tried it, a different shade. And it is weird. It takes some getting used to. And some people, it's just totally a write-off. But I will say it does not budge, which is amazing. Hours and hours of like drinking coffee, eating, doesn't move. And it's a little more comfortable than most I've tried that are matte liquid lips. However, it is near impossible to get off, you guys. I could not believe it. So I literally used like a makeup wipe and I'm just like, and it took a while to get off and it did not feel good. So it's just something to be aware of, that it's great. And if you're like gonna be like, let's say somewhere all day and you need it to last all day, and you might maybe reapply to the center of your lips midday, this is the answer. It's the best one. I think it's the best one I've tried when it comes to that. I'm going to wear my wedding lipstick. It's from Edward Bess, and it's their Ultra Slick Lipstick in Rose Demure. I love this color. It did not stay on very well on my wedding day, I remember, because it's just like a comfortable lipstick, but it was so pretty though. I just love this color. Okay. So I hope that was fun to watch. I love doing these like once a month is about how often I do them. And it's just fun. It's a way to catch up with you guys. We can touch on topics that we're all thinking about or whatever. But stay tuned for more videos. Right now, as we speak, I should be in Disney. So if you check out my Instagram or Twitter, it's Jessica Braun. I'm sure I'll be posting a ton over there. And I made it my goal this time to not only post about Disney while I'm there, I want to post about some of the makeup I'm using and stuff like that, because I know not all of you are Disney people and it kind of gets overwhelming. So I'll be sprinkling in every day little bits of the makeup I brought, what I'm wearing that day, etc. That way it's interesting to maybe more of you guys. Anyway, I love you all. Thanks for watching. Bye.